With the work from home order ending tomorrow, June 1, I urge all of you to take the necessary precautionary measures within the workplace to keep yourselves and others safe. Use your hand sanitizer or alcohol upon entering the building. Wear your masks. Continue to practice social distancing. And make sure your desk, computers, and phones are sanitized. Remember, there's no such thing as being too careful. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stay tuned.
You've asked for it, and now it's here. The Jamaica Information Service has updated its mobile app. It's easier to navigate, loads even faster than before, talking about top speed, operates seamlessly across platforms, and we're a creative bunch, so it's much easier on the eyes. Now you have quick and easy access to news stories, television and radio features, and a variety of photos right at your fingertips. And you'll get push notifications when new content is uploaded. Download the app on your Apple and Android devices now and get news you can use. Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica on the go.
This is a day in which we are particularly paying attention to the youth and the effects of tobacco on the youth and the whole screen that has been put forward by the big companies to attract this very vulnerable group. We know that tobacco or exposure to tobacco smoke is the number one cause of preventable deaths. When I say exposure, because we're not talking just first-hand use, but also second-hand exposure to tobacco smoke, contributes to about 30% of cancer deaths worldwide, and that contribution to other cardiovascular diseases is even much more.
Smoking in general is very, very dangerous, and we are discouraging smoking in general as well, in its new form, especially as vaping, and we also are discouraging the use of tobacco in the present climate, which consists of a viral pandemic that is definitely, evidence shows, made worse by attacking people who smoke.
Here in Jamaica so far, or patients who have had more severe disease, COVID-19, have been, yes, persons who are middle-aged to older age group and have had comorbidities of diabetes and hypertension. Tobacco smoke itself, first-hand smoking, increases the risk of hypertension, increases the risk of cardiovascular disease, and also potentiates diabetes and its effects. Tobacco smoke, I like to think of it, it can affect any organ, every organ. Persons get quite concerned about cancer, but the reality is that any organ, including skin and digits and limbs, are at risk. If you don't smoke, regardless of the pressures that are now surrounding us, and those are not to be ignored, this is not the time to start, because it may actually just make the condition worse. And if you do smoke, this is the time to get the help to stop.
The Housing Opportunity Production and Employment Hope Program is a training and apprenticeship initiative. It provides an avenue for the development of fully rounded individuals between the ages of 18 and 24. Through a system of National Service Corps, participants become productive members of society. Today, we highlight a few who have joined the fight against COVID-19.
I graduated from OPE and Fashion Design Level 2. I'm currently studying Fashion Design Level 3 at the moment. The course is about to finish March 31st, and it was put off because of the coronavirus. So now I'm here making masks. I'm here day on, almost every single day, trying to make a mask, I'll use 100 masks to supply. So each day I'm here working.
When COVID started and when the outbreak started in Jamaica, we realized that we had no choice but to shut down all training, and especially by what we did at Hope. So we had community-based training, we had institutional-based training like you see here at this Heart Academy. When we realized what was happening with COVID and the need for wearing masks by the general public, we decided to recall some of these youngsters who had then been at home for a few weeks, not earning a stipend, not doing anything. So we recalled them and we put systems in place here, very, very strict controls to maintain this sterile environment, the sanitizing processes, and at the same time to have them making these masks.
Making these masks, these Hope program masks, these can basically benefit Jamaica by preventing the spreading of coronavirus. And I live by the philosophy where there is hope, but there is life.
The Heart Trust Garmex Academy on Marcus Garvey Drive has become a tenacious player in the island's fight against COVID-19. What started as an initiative to engage numerous unattached young people enrolled in the Housing, Opportunity, Production and Employment Hope program has begun to bring hope to countless Jamaicans. The team of approximately 25 Hope trainees, 10 instructors, and numerous volunteers is tasked with the daily target of producing 1,000 reusable fabric masks that will be supplied to some of the less fortunate among us.
The masks are made and supplied. We try to get them to the most vulnerable groups. So we send them to infirmaries, to children's homes. We send them to other social workers groups that are out there working in the communities as we speak. We have provided these masks to the Ministry of Health, social teams that are deployed. But there is also a number of corporate entities who have come to us because they're on the front line. Food service, for instance. As you may be aware, Island Grill was one of our biggest supporters and encouraging us to do more and get more of these masks out, and they were the first ones to come on board.
Colonel Rickman, through his ingenuity, started the manufacture and design of the Hope mask, and we naturally turned to him because of the ongoing partnership that we had. And this is our way of saying thank you. So we have brought our team down to, go ahead and feed the interns and anybody else who might have been participants in producing these things for us.
I hope it's an example for others to follow suit. I invite other entities to come on board with us, donate some masks. There are entities now who are buying masks and allowing us simply to give it away.
Each mask is sold at a cost of $350 and are done to exact specifications.
We reach out to the Bureau of Standards as well as the Ministry of Health to look at various materials, various makeup and the design of the mask. And I'm happy to say that these masks that are made by Hope, they're made with material that are already water repellent or moisture repellent, but it's made with a level of comfort. It's in 3 layers so that it significantly reduces the possibility. So it's not a guarantee, but it significantly reduces the possibility of moisture and vapor to enter into the system. Or for those who may have the virus, if everybody's wearing it, it will protect them from passing it on as well. All of these masks are made in the Jamaican colors, as you can see. And they're made because we wanted to inspire a sense of, that we as Jamaicans, we are all in this thing together. The masks are made by these young persons who would otherwise have been doing nothing at home. So they're earning a bit of a stipend whilst they're making these masks. They're doing something good for the country. They're in their own way, they're contributing, they're giving their own service back by contributing, making masks, albeit for a small stipend.
Starting a program changed me. Right now, I want to become the best fashion designer there is, if there's such thing. And I'm just here working to the best of my ability to gain more experience and strengthen my skills, and just let it take place from there.
The stipend is the starter for me. So the stipend basically started me. So now I own my own business, and the business name is For Your Glory Design. And now I can fetch for my family and myself.
I'm more confident in sewing than before because I can do a lot more than I could do before, like pattern making, jacket suits. I'm actually making masks in my community also. I'm selling them in my own community. Yeah. So fashion is a good thing for me, and did a lot. It's just me, did a lot for me.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
Mosquito-borne diseases such as dengue have been a national public health concern in Jamaica for many years. To help prevent the spread, we need to clean up mosquito breeding sites like old tires, drums and gullies. As the hurricane season is set to commence tomorrow, June 1, that may mean more rainfall and more opportunities for mosquitoes to breed. So we urge you to be prepared and keep your surroundings free of potential breeding sites.
Dengue fever is a vector-borne disease carried by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. It is caused by the flavivirus and occurs in either a mild or severe form in tropical and subtropical areas of the world. Globally, 50 to 100 million cases of dengue are seen yearly.
Dengue is endemic to Jamaica, meaning that since its introduction in 1977, we have cases that occur every year. The cases of dengue fever, including severe dengue, can occur at any time throughout the year. An outbreak is declared when the number of cases increase above the usual that is expected for that time of the year.
Dengue is transmitted to humans by the bite of the infected female mosquito. Symptoms typically begin 3 to 14 days after someone gets infected with the virus. Symptoms can last from 2 to 7 days.
The incubation period is usually 4 to 10 days, and illness begins abruptly, and there are essentially 3 phases of the illness. First phase is where you have the fever. The second phase that you can go into is a critical phase, and then you have a recovery phase.
Over 70% of persons who contract the disease usually experience mild symptoms. Persons affected by the mild form of the disease may experience fever of 40 degrees Celsius or higher, headache, muscle pain, and bone and joint pain. Some people may also experience nausea, pain behind the eyes, swollen glands, vomiting, sore throat, rash, and diarrhea.
So you can see that it's a range of symptoms that can present, and therefore, when you initially present with dengue, it may be seen as different illnesses. It may be seen as gastroenteritis, it may be seen as an upper respiratory tract infection, or it can be seen as dengue fever.
To be on the safe side and put speculations aside, persons who start experiencing symptoms are advised to visit their health facility or doctor for medical advice and treatment. If indeed you have dengue, do not self-medicate with treatments that can worsen your illness or cause bleeding. So be sure to have a discussion about dengue with your doctor. The Health Ministry says doctors who recognize the presence of a fever should also have a high suspicion for dengue and treat with the necessary precautions. For mild cases of dengue, persons may treat themselves at home with specific types of over-the-counter medications, but heed the warning.
Fever and pain to the joints, pain to the muscles, must be treated with only medications that have cetamol, paracetamol, and Panadol. You can also use tepid sponging, fan therapy, and increased fluid to assist with decreasing the fever. Do not use medications that contain aspirin and other non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as ibuprofen and diclofenac. You must read your labels carefully. If you are unsure, consult your pharmacist or your doctor before using the medication.
The drugs you should not take while experiencing dengue have been known to cause and/or worsen bleeding and increase the severity of the disease. Besides the mild form of dengue, persons can also experience a more severe form called dengue hemorrhagic fever, which is a rare complication of the illness that can lead to death. Usually the fever that comes with dengue lasts for about 5 days, and it is usually when the fever is going away that persons tend to worsen. Warning signs include persons not eating, experiencing persistent vomiting, lethargy, restlessness, shortness of breath, pain in the abdomen, or tenderness in the abdomen. Persons should also look out for signs of bleeding.
Those signs of bleeding can include bleeding from the gums, bleeding in the urine, it can be bleeding in the stool. Usually though, when you start getting bleeding in the stool, in the urine and stuff, you have reached a severe point.
It is important to note that a case of severe dengue can occur without symptoms of bleeding. Also, in a case of severe dengue, there may be difficulty in maintaining hemodynamics, in which a person's blood pressure tends to drop suddenly and circulation to vital organs is affected.
With dengue, fluid tends to seep from the blood vessels to the outside of the vessels, meaning that there is decreased blood flow to vital organs. And that is why you get the symptoms of lethargy and restlessness and pain in the abdomen. What those signs are signs of decreased perfusion to the brain. It means that enough fluid is not going to the brain because persons are dehydrated. Okay? The dehydration and the signs of dehydration are very important to treat.
Persons are warned to not wait for these signs and instead go to the doctor or hospital early. People with chronic illnesses such as sickle cell are at a greater risk of experiencing severe dengue. These individuals must use precaution when taking their medications.
If you have a chronic illness that you may be taking medications for and you think that there may be some interference with dengue, you must speak to your doctor to decide whether or not you should continue to take these medications.
In order to effectively combat and limit the spread of dengue and other mosquito-transmitted illnesses, persons must eliminate mosquito breeding sites in their surroundings. Breeding sites include old tires, laundry tanks, dish drainers, covered tanks or cisterns, drums and barrels, discarded buckets and containers. Other sources are pet dishes, construction blocks, bottles, discarded tin cans, tree holes and bamboo, bottle pieces on top of walls, old shoes and flower pots. Mosquitoes can also breed in discarded toys, roof guttering, bromeliad plants, garden containers and tools, brick holes and unmaintained wading or swimming pools. Where water is stored for use, the containers must be properly covered and sealed against mosquito entry. The use of mosquito repellents containing DEET and long-sleeved clothing are also recommended for personal protection. For more information, please contact the Ministry of Health, 10 to 16 Grenada Way, Kingston 5. Call them at 876-633-8172, 876-633-7771. Information is on the web at moh.gov.jm and contact can be made by email pr@moh.gov.jm or on social media.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
We've been saying it all program long. The hurricane season in Jamaica begins on June 1 and it runs until November 30. For 2020, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is predicting a more active season with an estimated 13 to 19 named storms, 3 to 6 of which may develop into hurricanes. How are these storms tracked once they're formed? How can the meteorological services provide us with such detailed information during a storm or hurricane? Find out more next.
Hurricane Matthew is still a Category 4 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale. It is continuing to move northward, which takes it closer and closer to Jamaican waters. More information is coming out from the Hurricane Center.
The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1 through to November 30. These dates historically describe the period when most tropical cyclones form in the Atlantic basin. A number of tools are used, like satellites, radars, and computer models, to determine where a hurricane will go and how intense it will be. But a critical part of forecasting is done by the specially equipped NOAA aircrafts called Hurricane Hunters, which collect data through high-flying meteorological stations.
That will be transmitted back to the Hurricane Center and then made available to all the region, including Jamaica.
WC-130J Hercules is a high-wing, medium-range aircraft used in weather reconnaissance missions. This plane is configured to penetrate tropical disturbances and storms, as well as hurricanes and winter storms, and get data on the movement, size, and intensity of these systems. The NOAA Gulfstream model, nicknamed Gonzo, is a high-tech, high-flying, and high-speed twin-engine jet that flies around and over developing tropical cyclones to create a detailed picture of the surrounding upper atmosphere. It has a range of nearly 4,000 nautical miles and a cruising altitude of 45,000 feet. The Lockheed model, nicknamed Kermit, is in a class by itself. Formulated with unique scientific instrumentation, radars, and recording systems, the Kermit is able to do horizontal and vertical scans of storms.
So we'll have two meteorologists sit up front there. The person in the left seat is usually verifying the drop-on data that we're collecting. The person on the right is helping with navigation. The station behind that is where our radar operator sits. So we've got a radar in the nose and a radar in the tail collecting data for us. This is where all of our data systems reside. And then back here is where we're actually dropping the songs. So we'll prepare one of the songs here, pass it over to that guy. He'll prepare it there just so we have a backup just in case this computer goes dead or that computer goes dead. Once the song is ready to go, close the door.
Cutting through the eye wall of a hurricane, lashed by extreme winds, dazzling rain, and fierce updrafts and downdrafts before entering the calm of the storm. Probing every wind and pressure change during the course of 8 to 10 hours. So why aren't these aircrafts torn apart during these flights? Well, they are generally not destroyed by strong winds while in flight. It's the sheer or sudden change in horizontal or vertical winds that can destroy an aircraft or cause its loss of control. That's why NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft don't fly through tornadoes, but they are always monitoring for hotspots of severe weather and shear that they can often identify on radar and avoid if it's too severe.
We are always in direct
communication with the National Hurricane Center. As soon as they get the information, we speak to them, they tell us what is happening, and so when we are ready to issue a warning, if we feel that we are threatened, we communicate that to the Hurricane Center. We are ready to issue a warning. What do you think? And we take that decision, and they make it public to all the countries, not only in the region, but even wider than that through the internet and other means.
Today's Child Month tip is feed positivity. Teach your child 3 affirmations and repeat them out loud together. Positive thoughts and messages are exactly what our children need to shape their future and, in turn, the world. Children need to know and believe that they can be anything and achieve anything they set their minds to. Teaching them affirmations is like giving them a lifelong goal, which they'll always aim to achieve, and will also help them to know and understand their self-worth. Follow the tip. Instill some positivity in your child as we work to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
Are you aware of how Jamaican adolescents use social media? What do they do online? What do they post? Do you know if they are being harassed? These are questions you should be asking yourself, because it is your duty to keep your children safe online. Parents, here's what you need to do. Be active online and offline. Help your child to set up his or her online profile. Make sure you familiarize yourself with the different social media applications that they use and set some rules. Protect our nation's children and save them from cybercriminal attacks.
Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Until then, send your feedback on today's show to jamaicamagazine@gis.gov.jm. Also, follow us on our social media pages and download our app on your Apple and Android devices. And you can also visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.